Quarterback Blake Baker and defensive back Jakari Foster. We'll open it up for any questions.
Like obviously the offense, the previous two games, guys got to a slow start tonight. Obviously, 24 in the first half. I just talk about what maybe changed, I guess, offensively.
This week of prep, we just took it personally, and we did the little things right. And when you do the little things right, you often have good outcomes. So that was our mindset coming into this game.
I guess, like, you speaking of mentality, obviously the quarterback battle's been ongoing here. I guess, like, what has Coach Franklin and Coach Cummey told you about their confidence in leading this offense?
Yeah, Coach Franklin kind of told me Thursday that I would be starting off this game, and just got to be blessed with the opportunity and go through it and go shine when the opportunity is yours. I'm sorry.
What kind of joke did the defense give this offense on the second half with 3 takeaways and another touchdown?
Oh yeah, I mean you see them just competing every play and just not giving them an inch, and that just motivates the offense, and then things start going, and then plays were made, and yeah, we saw the final.
Cards your second pick of the season so far. I guess just like we heard all offseason about like the take it mentality. Like how gratifying is it to see like this defense is living up to that so far?
It's really nice. I mean, we take it every day. You know, throughout the week from Sunday to Friday. You know, everything is take it, and when we come out here Saturday, it's what we do. So. Getting a win tonight. You want to go?
I mean, a conference win is a conference win. You know what I mean? You know, most important week is the next week. So glad we got the dub, but move on.
Yeah, and then like it was just like we haven't I guess beat them in 12 years. If that's what we got told. So had to come out here and show them.
Like I know in this offense, like the quarterback run game is a huge part of that. Like I guess like how much confidence does that give you that like you have the freedom to kind of go scramble and like pick up those extra yards? I guess.
No, yeah, it definitely helps. You know, yeah, it, like impacts the whole defensive side of the ball. They got to think about different things every time any of our quarterbacks are in the game, and they got to account for us. So it's a big advantage.
I wouldn't say a different ball game. I feel like defensive wise, we were. It was just really rules that we have in certain coverages that we should have kept. Like going on whenever they kept on like hitting those big explosive plays. It was just like we had to figure out a way to overcome that. So we ended up coming in halftime and talked about it for a while, and after that we showed them. So.
You guys good?
Thanks, guys.
Yep, thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
To start CUSA play 1-0. Coach, if you can just open it up with an opening statement, your thoughts on the game, and we'll take some questions.
You know, I thought that, obviously our kids played hard and they executed really well today. Was proud that I think these games like this in our conference are an anomaly. We would take them every week, but we know in Conference USA play, typically games are going to come down to a one-possession game. But nights like this, we'll take any chance we can get. And it was a lot of fun to see our players break through, offensively in particular. I think that Blake started the game with a lot of confidence, throwing the football. I thought that he was not hesitant. I thought that he made plays with his feet. I think our offensive line took another step, and then I think the unit that really took a big step besides, our production and play at quarterback was our running backs. I thought they really played well, and a lot of the things they did well was blocking for the quarterback, and whether it was in pass protection or in the run game. And so, just excited for how they produced this week and how much better they got. You saw receivers make plays, different guys step up. Devin Gandy, Jalen Mickens. You saw Marquise Singleton make a critical third down conversion on a screen on our sideline. And a lot of it just came down to those guys going out and executing the calls and playing with confidence. And so was proud of how we played in the first half, and then I think the thing that our team got hit in the mouth and I think really we were a little wobbly and at the halftime and got our legs back under us in the second half on defense. Those guys flew around to the football, created takeaways, scored again. And then I think on special teams, without watching it, I think it was a hit or miss performance. I thought that we did some really nice things in punt return. We made some penalties that we had to eliminate, all the way around, really. But anytime that you can do it and you win in the fashion that we won, and now the maturity of our team will be tested from the standpoint of how we handle this week, and enjoy it tonight, and then get ourselves ready tomorrow and Monday for a really good Southern Miss team at our place again. And it's important that we start the season off playing at home well, and we were able to do that. And again, I thought that our student section was phenomenal, and I think it's huge difference for our kids. They feel the energy and the enthusiasm and the excitement, and I think the Blue Blood student organization has been tremendous and really kickstarting that. And for us, we know our responsibility is to play well and to play exciting and to win, and we want to be able to do that for them. And I thought the way they stayed throughout 4 quarters was really a big impact, and at certain points our kids, I think, fed off that energy there in the second half. And then, of note, I think there's 2 guys on our team. Travell Vivians last week had a pass breakup in a big situation at LSU, and then you see Jacob Bradford with the scoop and score. And those are 2 guys that collectively probably on Tuesday and Wednesday of each week they're playing scout team defensive line. They may get collectively 5 to 10 reps during the course of the week with our 1s or 2s on defense. They don't complain. They don't have bad body language. They embrace their role, and they play it to the best of their ability. And in 2 weeks in a row, they've really owned their impact on the football game. Because really, when Bradford scored the scoop and score, I think that was the one where everybody just kind of relaxed. And from the standpoint, I took a little bit of a deep breath, because there for a minute the game was, again, it was like a game that's hanging in the balance, waiting for us to score and take it out. And we finally did that with that play. And so really proud of Jacob and Travell, the guys that really, Monday through Friday may not get as many reps, but man, they don't complain. They just freaking have a smile on their face. They work, and 2 weeks in a row, I think it's the way football works, is they are guys that make impact plays, and to go along with a bunch of other guys.
The 2-quarterback system really threw them off tonight. I guess, what led to maybe that decision?
Yeah, going into the week, really probably Wednesday, Coach Franklin really felt strongly about Blake, as being the starter. As that became clear throughout the course of the week, we knew we wanted to play Trey, because Trey gives us something in the quarterback run game that I think, I was really proud of how they both handled that. And I think you're right, Matt. It kept New Mexico State on their heels from a defensive standpoint. I think they were very uncomfortable. I didn't talk to him, but I would, just from the way it played out, I think from a coordinator standpoint, that would make you very uncomfortable. And just because you don't get a beat on what's going to be called, what's going to be ran. And Trey ran really hard, got some critical first downs, made a great throw to Marlon for the touchdown. And then I think that Blake did not, he wasn't thrown off rhythm by being able to do that.
How much of a great sight was it to see this offense really, take charge from the beginning, especially in the run game?
Well, I knew we were going to get rolling. It was just a matter of when. And I think that there's a lot of really good players in our room. I think we have a lot of really good football coaches. And you have to understand, though, there's a lot of moving parts to it on offense and the timing and the rhythm, and I think that our guys really hit that early on. You know, I think the first half, I don't believe the only time we stopped in the first half is when we stopped ourselves. And then, you know, the third quarter is a lot to learn from in terms of that execution. But it was just proud of how they played confidently. They did not play with hesitation, and they expected good things to happen. And they went out and guys made plays, starting with Devin Ganey on the first play of the game. He goes down, the ball wasn't thrown perfect, and he made a play. And so it's good to build off of it. Much like we talked about this week internally, is the performance we had last week was good if we use it, you know, and we were able to use it. And the same thing here. This week is going to be beneficial for our football team if we continue to evolve and use it to get better.
Because at 5 picks last year, you got 5 through 3 games. Let's just talk about the opportunistic defense.
Yeah, I think that some of it is obviously we have good players, and some of it the coaching is the preparation. I mean, Jakari Foster, he's the roof player, and he's made 2 interceptions being the roof player. And there's a ton of pre-practice work, and that's what's so fun to see because, you know, last year at this time, Jakari Foster probably doesn't make that play. And he surely doesn't make the play against Selah the first drive of the season. And he's developed, he's taken coaching, he's gotten better, and he's got a great tool set to start with, and in terms of abilities. And so that's what's fun to see. And I mean, what a play by Cam Franklin on our sideline. And again, those are things that being able to see the kids take work from individual periods and carry it over to team periods, and then you carry it over to the game. You know, I think that Cam Franklin in particular, I think he's gotten better and better as we've gone through these games. And so very opportunistic group. You know, I think we gave up a little bit more in the passing game in the first half than what we would have liked, but I think they really anchored down. New Mexico State's run game was really non-existent, and that was in large part because our defensive line and linebackers, they controlled the front. Yeah, and we knew that it wasn't going to be, you know, we at least anticipated, you know, from the standpoint of it's going to be 4 quarters. And we wanted to come out attacking. We wanted to come out throwing punches, and we knew that they were going to fight back. And they were 2-0, you know, trying to be 3-0 for the first time in 26 years. And we hadn't beaten that team since 2012. And so we knew that they were going to be a tough opponent. And I think that, again, I was proud of how our kids rebounded at halftime defensively. They got the kind of the blank stare out of their face, and they came out in the third quarter and asserted themselves, while our offense, you know, had issues running it and moving the ball. But then I think we found our footing there, and guys made plays, and it was a great team win.
You mentioned Jacob and Trevell. I'm curious. You know, obviously Jaden Mayfield's a guy that, you know, played a lot of special teams last year. Obviously, you got great linebackers in front of him. He obviously has a strip sack that leads to the fumble recovery. Just talk about what you've seen from him stepping up. Yeah,
he's an incredible player. Instincts, has a great nose for the football. I mean, because you think about it, I think he's been playing varsity football at Ruston since he was a freshman, I believe, which that's high-level defense, high-level football. And you think about, you know, they're probably playing 16 games a year, nearly. So that's a lot of football games that he's played since he's been a 9th grader, and he's been the quarterback of that defense for 4 years. And then he came through last year and learned and redshirted playing his 4 games. And really we talked about it this week, that this was a week that we really needed to start increasing his reps on defense, but keeping Chief fresh. And then also because Mayfield is playing at a really high level. And so I think that both of those guys played better tonight, you know, because their reps were you know, Chiefs, you know, his reps were cut down a little bit just because he plays better whenever he's fresher. And then we have a great young linebacker in Mayfield, and that room is a really, really strong room. And it was exciting to see Jaden. And, you know, we played Zierra Keel tonight for one of his 4 games. You know, the plan is to play him in 3 more. And you know, I thought that he really did a nice job and helped us win the football game on special teams. But Mayfield's got great instincts. He's really smart. And he's a football player that plays faster than maybe what he would line up and run, just because he trusts his instincts and he knows what's going to happen before it does. You know, he took a hard hit on our sideline on the run, Trey did, and I think I have to evaluate it tomorrow and just see what, you know, had happened. It was to his right shoulder. So the one thing about Trey is he's a really tough kid, and I know that, you know, he's going to do everything he can to get back as soon as he can.
You mentioned the penalties, back-to-back games, double digits. Is there a through line you've seen, I guess, through the penalties that have gone on you guys?
A what?
Through line? Just anything that you feel like can be cleaned up just generally?
I know that on special teams for certain, it's just to get in better athletic position. And then again, it's like if you're not in position, don't block. If you can make the block, then don't do it. The false start, a couple of those from a quarterback standpoint, clapping, you have to make sure that there was issues there in terms of communication, making sure we get the full clap, and so the center can hear it. I think that's what happened on the two there. We'll have to look at it and address it because a lot of the things that to play championship level football, we've got to eliminate the foolish penalties.
All right, Coach, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah.